Okay. So a friend of mine, claro, te puedes sentar donde quieras. Yo no me siento. I don't sit. So a friend of mine asked me this morning, so have you rested from the pouring party? And I said, I texted back, yes, I'm already on Pesach mode. So, so that's it. That's what we have to do. I want to start, we're already 30 days from Pesach, and our sages tell us that 30 days from a Hag, a Yom Tov, we should start studying about it so we understand what it is about and reap the benefits. So we'll do a little bit of Tanya, but I really want to get into the Pesach, okay? So we're in Tanya, we're finishing chapter 10, which is about the tzaddik. And it's, as we have said, it's a very unique chapter in the Tanya because the Tanya is not about the tzaddik. The Tanya really is about the Benoni, the middleman. And we have seen that the tzaddik is one who has completely transformed his animal. The animal is where the ego is born, and he is able to completely give it over and only want what Hashem wants, to the point that it's really detestable to him. Anything that is anti-God, anything that is not in Hashem's list to do, he doesn't want to do it, right? Okay, and chapter 11, the next chapter, is all about the Rasha. So it's very interesting. It's about a person that gives in to their animal, that sometimes, right? Because the category of Rasha in the Tanya is huge. It could be even, a very refined rabbi that sometimes says Lashon Hara. He's already classified as a Rasha in the Tanya, as well as Ari Shishler, Rabbi Ashley Shishler puts it, like an axe murderer. He's also called a Rasha. So we can see that there's a gamut, there's a whole range. Just as there's a whole range of tzaddikim, where there's complete tzaddik and incomplete, and there's a whole range of rashayim, people that give in to their lower instincts. So what does that have to do with Pesach? What does it have to do with Passover? The whole story of Passover is about Moses and the Jewish people, and we were enslaved in Egypt, and then Hashem took us out with a strong hand, and the evil person there is Paro, right? So the whole story, we're gonna see it in detail, but Moses and Paro are really a symbol of the divine soul and the animal soul. Paro was a big chunk of ego. I am God, I created myself, I created the river Nile, I. Okay? And Moses is all about what does Hashem want. So we can see these are the two different voices inside of us. And we're gonna see that each holiday is an opportunity to have the energy for whatever that holiday is teaching us. And Pesach is really an opportunity of liberation from our own animal. That's what Passover is. It's like every hug is like going to the doctor and getting your flu shot. So now I have the vaccine for this particular virus for the year, or whatever it is, right? That's a hug. On Passover, we get the energy, we get that infusion to be able to liberate ourselves, to not be a slave to my own lower instincts, to my own animalistic instincts. That's what Pesach is about. That's what we're gonna clean, and that's what the whole Seder and the whole story. In one level, we could think, oh, it's just for children, right? It's for children. It's in school. They make a nice Haggadah, and the little children they sing Manishtana. But Torah is Hashem's brain, Hashem's Chokhmah. Hashem is in many different levels. And in a very deep level, we're going to see it's really talking to each person. And it's giving us an opportunity for us to really know ourselves and be able to not be a slave to ourselves, okay? All right, so let's go first into an overview. Okay, we've done this some classes many times. So our Jewish calendar is a circle, big circle. On top of this circle is going to be Passover, Pesach. Here. Purim is here somewhere, right? We just passed Purim. What did we talk about Purim? There was a big miracle. Right? A miracle Purim. What is Pesach going to be about? It's going to be miracles. Hashem is going to rain down miracles, the plagues, right? All of the plagues, there's more miracles here. All of the plagues, okay, defied nature. They were against nature. The river Nile, water becomes blood. Water is cold. Water has no taste. Blood is warm, is red, has a color. Water has no color. It should have no color. If it has a color, there's a problem with the water, right? So all of the plagues defied nature. The hail rains down with the fire. In our world, either there's fire or there's hail. Either there's hot or cold. You can't have both, right? One will melt the other. One will cancel the other, right? But all the plagues were Hashem, right, raining down miracles. What is the attribute or the facet of Hashem that makes miracles? What is it? Anybody knows? It's the Yud Kei Vav Kei name. When we say the name Adonai in prayer, we sometimes say Adonai, and sometimes we say Elohim, right? Elohim. When we say Adonai, we're talking about this name of Hashem that is so elevated, is so holy, we shouldn't even spell it. That's why I put a little hyphen. We shouldn't even say it. We don't even pronounce the name. We say Adonai, but it's not really, this is not really what it says. This is just a representation of Adonai. This name of Yud Kei Vav Kei, okay, this is Hashem supra nature. This is like beyond, we say now beyond burger, but beyond nature. This is where miracles are born. This is where miracles come from. Okay? This name of Hashem, Yud Kei Vav Kei, can be divided into two parts. Okay? Hove, this name, H, the Hey, the Vav, the Hey, it means to create something from nothing. Like a magician. You know, there's a hat, empty hat. All of a sudden, they pull out a rabbit, they pull out a bird. Oh, magic. Okay, from this name of Hashem, that's where creation comes from. Because beyond creation. Like, what is Hashem? Who is Hashem? Where is Hashem? Once my youngest son, he was a little boy, he came home from yeshiva. And he said, Mom, I asked, he asked me, he was like, who is Hashem or where is Hashem? And I was gonna answer, and he says, you know, today I asked my Rebbe that question, and he said to me, I shouldn't ask such question. And I said to him, you know what? I think that what your Rebbe meant is not that it's not a good question to us. You can ask the question is, why are you asking the question? Are you asking the question because you really want to find Hashem and you want to get closer to him? Like, who is Hashem? What was Hashem before creation? I want to get closer to him, right? Then it's a good question. But some people ask the question, who is Hashem? Like Paro. I don't see Hashem. He's not in my book in this dictionary of gods. Therefore, there's no Hashem. Who is Hashem? When I ask the question, who is Hashem? Because I'm really searching to get away from Hashem, then it's not a good question, right? This name of Hashem, Yud Kei Vav Kei, is Hashem beyond my comprehension. And the Hey Vav Hey means create something from nothing. How can somebody create something from nothing? I don't know. Last night I made challah. I had to have eggs, flour, yeast, water. Because we don't make something from nothing. We transfer. And those ingredients, I made a challah, right? I can make magic. And the yud, what does the yud mean? Like a computer program. It means repeat. Repeat. Just repeat. So create something from nothing, and every single second of creation, Hashem is repeating it. Okay? That's where miracles come from. So when Hashem created the world, when he, the Torah begins with Bet of Bereshit. In the beginning. Where is the beginning? Beginning of what? Because Hashem has no beginning. It says he has no beginning, he has no end, right? So in the beginning, creation starts here. This is in the beginning. In the beginning, right? Bereshit, the bed of Bereshit. Here is creation. So creation starts with the name of Hashem, that is Elohim. When we say Elohim, Elohim, we're talking about Hashem in his creation. Now he made nature. Now the day has 24 hours. Now there's sun, and then at night there's going to be a moon. Now it's something from something, right? Whoever doesn't work for Shabbat cannot eat on Shabbat. Plain as that, right? You wanna have a lean body, you need to exercise. You wanna have a healthy body, you need to eat healthy. There's no miracles, right? So Elohim is Hashem in nature. Okay? Now there's a how does Hashem come from the infinite to the finite? I don't know. The Tanya would explain to us. He through a series of contractions, later the Hishtalshelut, yes, from the infinite will come the finite. This is finite. Okay? All right. So this is the world that we live in. And more so, the Torah tells us we have to live in this world. The Torah tells us, walk tamim with Hashem. It says, walk innocent with Hashem. What does walk innocent with Hashem mean? Let Hashem run the show. Each day he opens up, it's a new show. It's like a Broadway play, right? Each scene befalls before us. Each scene, each day is a different set of I don't know, scenery, the day, everything. Walk tamim with Hashem is let Hashem run the show. That's what tamim means. It means whole, it means wholesome, it means let him run the show. It's Hashem's world, okay? But here is walking tamim with Hashem, okay? Yes? Yes. Okay, so what's a miracle? Why are we going to celebrate Passover? Because a miracle is Hashem making a break in this system. A break in this system. We are watching the Broadway show. The scene comes before us. All of a sudden they close the curtain. And I'm in the audience. I want to say, what's behind the curtain? I want to see who's moving, those lights and what's behind the curtain. All of a sudden, somebody puts their hand from the curtain out. Hi, I'm here. I'm running the whole thing, right? This is a miracle. It's Hashem waving at us and saying, I'm here. I'm here. Hello, I'm running the show. And that's why the Rambam says, each time in our history that Hashem has broken this nature, and he says hello to us, and he says, I'm really here. I'm really running the show from the infinite. Hey, Daniel, welcome back. So each time that Hashem does this, then the Rambam says we need to celebrate. We need to tell everybody, hey, there was a miracle. Hashem broke the laws of nature. Let's celebrate. Let's talk about it. And that's why on Pesach they tell us it's meritorious. The more we speak about it, the more we tell the story of Egypt, right? Why? Because every time Hashem has shown his hand, has shown us, I am here. I really do exist. You know, today, every time we look at the news in Israel, what are we saying? Hashem, please. Hashem, please, make a miracle. Hashem, I beg you. Right? And we're waiting for that miracle. So when Hashem makes the miracle, so we are saying, hey, he's there. And I want to tell everybody about it. Why? Because when we see the miracle, our faith increases. Our faith, our bitachon, yes, I knew. I always felt it in my heart, but I couldn't see it with my eyes. What do you think the Jews in Egypt felt? Every time they present a plague, Hashem is with us. Hashem is going to save us. Hashem is tangible, right? And that feeds faith. That is bitachon. And that's why the Rambam says every time that we have lived through a miracle, when the calendar goes again and it's the anniversary of that miracle, celebrate, talk about it. That's why on Hanukkah, there's cars that put a Chanukiah on their car. I want to tell the world about it. Are we there? Are we understanding what's happening? Okay, so that is Pesach. So Pesach is Hashem reaching down to his creation. But this is a Jewish calendar. How many months do we have? Like 12 months in a year, right? 12, sometimes 13. So what's going to happen about 6 months from Pesach? What's the Yom Tov 6 months from Pesach? Rosh Hashanah. Rosh Hashanah. Rosh Hashanah. And before Rosh Hashanah, it's going to be what? It's going to be the month of Elul. What do we do on Rosh Hashanah? Rosh Hashanah, we blow the shofar. Right? On Elul, what do? Dati, right? For me, my favorite month of the year to be in Israel, God willing, is Elul. I love Elul in Israel. I love Elul in the Kotel. I love Elul to go early in the morning. There's something in the air. It's just, it's beautiful, right? What did it tell us about Rosh Hashanah? Rosh Hashanah, they say, it's the head of the year, but it's a new beginning. And Hasidut says everything is contained in the beginning. In the drop of life of a human being, everything in potential that human being is going to be is contained there, right? So all our books are open, right? All our books are open. And literally, our life is hanging on the line. Because it's not just about what's going to happen next year. It's about the rest of our lives. Yes? Because anything that, time is circular. And this year, this calendar year, which is 5784, now the phone can tell me, 5784, literally comes to an end. It's a circle of time and it comes to an end. So everything pertaining to this year, everything, parnasa, mazal, health, everything comes to an end. And Hashem, God willing, if we blow the shofar, he will open up another year of time, which is a totally different. It really has nothing to do with the previous year. So everything is hanging on the line. And that's why we're begging Hashem. Hey, Hashem, remember me. Please, Hashem, I'm gonna do teshuvah. I want to come back. Please remember me. Please remember me for a good year, a healthy year, right? Okay. So what is this called? This is called man reaching for his creator. Do you see the pattern? Now in Pesach, from Purim, it's miracles, Hashem reaching to his creation. From 6 months from now, Rosh Hashanah, it's man reaching towards his creation. So what is this? This is like a heartbeat. Expansion, contraction, expansion. This is the heartbeat of life. Okay, this is the heartbeat of life. Hashem reaching to us, and now we reach for him, and now he reaches for us, and now we reach for him. This is the heartbeat of life. Okay, like a symphony. Everybody is hypnotized. Okay, all right. So now, I've said many times in class, there's a book, it's called Love Thy Neighbor by Rabbi Plisky. And he gives over a little excerpt from a rabbi in Israel that says, in Israel, when you ask somebody, how are you? How would they say? Ma nishma. Ma nishma, how are you? And how do they answer? How do they answer? Hakol, yes, okay. Hakol beseder. Hakol beseder means literally everything is in order, right? Seder is in order, yeah, in order. But this rabbi says how wise it is, because when somebody answers Hakol beseder, they're literally saying everything that's going to happen to us in Rosh Hashanah is according to the Seder of Pesach. Why? Because in order for man to reach up to his creator, who has to give him the life, the energy, the wisdom to know I need to blow the shofar, I need to pray to Hashem? Hashem is the only entity. Our sages tell us that everything that he demands from us, everything that he asks from us, a brit milah. When you have a child, make a brit milah. Brit milah, yes, we're gonna make the brit milah, but who gives us a child? Hashem first gives us a child. When you have parnasa, give tzedakah, give 10% to charity. I'll give the 10%, but who gave me the tzedakah? Who gave me first the money? Hashem, right? When you have a vineyard, when you have when you're gonna plant a field, right? And don't make a mixture of plants. Who gave me first the field? Every mitzvah Hashem asks of us, first he gives it to us. So first he needs to give us, remember, this is the heartbeat. First he needs to give us in order for us to then reach up to him. And that's Pesach. That is Pesach. That is Passover. So it says in Passover night, it's like it's raining from heaven. Like Hasidut tells us, it's the night that it's like it's raining from heaven, all these blessings on us, like pouring down, like Hashem buckets full, it's literally it's like raining down on us. What do we need to be able to receive it? We need containers. We need a container, right? Because if I don't have a container, it doesn't matter how much it's gonna rain. I'm not ready. I only have my little hands to I don't have buckets full, right? And if we're very, very wise, we'll get huge vats and I want to hold it. That's the cleaning of Pesach. That's the preparation. Throw things out. You know what? I threw things out last night. I threw things out today. So why? Our closets are full of things that we don't use. But they're so full that there's no room for new things. And you know what? I can't even enjoy it because it's like so cluttered, like so like this. I can't even really enjoy it. And I know a lady that when she gets one new piece of clothing, she gives away one. Very wise. I don't know how they do it, but I'm not there. I'm not there yet. I'm not there yet. Okay. That's amazing. Amazing. But we can talk about a refrigerator. Every time Shabbat comes, I have to get out because there's not going to be room to put the Shabbat food. If I still have last week's, there's not going to be room. We can talk about the refrigerator. We can talk about our closet. We can talk about, but the physical world is only to tell us the same thing is happening in the spiritual. Everything in the physical world, there's a mirror in the spiritual. In the spiritual world also, we have gotten used to certain behaviors. We have gotten used to certain ways of thinking that maybe are not so amazing. They're not optimum. They're not good. They're even harmful. They're not good for us. We have just gotten, we were raised up like that. When we were a little child and we wanted something. And so my mom didn't want to give it to me. So I made a tantrum. And I learned that when I want something in life, if I'm not getting, I'm going to make a tantrum. And as we get older, we know how to make different tantrums, right? Who do you think you are? I'm the one that is doning here. I am this and you are that. Or we get upset, or I'm going to get depressed. And really, it's like many times depression or angry is just a tantrum thrown by a grown-up. That's it. It's a tantrum thrown by a grown-up. Because we're in our psyche, we're thinking, oh, things are not going my way. But if I really get depressed a long time, you know what? I'm going to get my way. It's not happening. So we have accumulated inside of us, and every year it happens again and again. I'm sorry for this example, but I really believe in it. It's our teeth. We need to go to a hygienist to clean our teeth. Wait, I go every 3 months, like, wait, my teeth were clean. I clean them every day. I floss them every day. I do, water pick, the works. Listerine, the whole.
Excellent, Vivian. Keep on going every 3 months.
This is a word for the profession. Okay. You know what I'm talking about. Should I give your number after class?
Yeah.
Rita Steiner. Okay. Anyways, but you know what? I go every 3 months. I get this tartar. Where did the tartar come from? How did it creep in? I felt I didn't feel any tartar in my mouth. It creeps in. Well, the same thing happens to us spiritually. And it's not even that. You know what? I should have brought it. I found it, but I'll bring it next class. It's not even that. Even if you do all the right things, remember what we said? 5,784, it's coming to an end. So even if I was like at the peak, I did excellent this year. You know what? I really controlled my temper. I was really good. I did all my mitzvot. I prayed. I did everything. That was good for 5,784. But 5,785 is coming. And it's like a new car, like a new cell phone, like your amazing sneakers, the latest sneakers. The new one is what? Improved. Remember, new and improved? Like they put those little stickers. New and improved, right? New and improved. And every time you go to buy a detergent in Publix, but the same one, but one says new, improved. What do? Which one do you buy? New and improved, right? New and improved. So how do we get there? How do we get to new and improved? That is Pesach. Hashem, it's a how-to, it's a workshop. Pesach is a workshop. I feel when we go into the Pesach Seder, you're not gonna like this one. I don't have a surgeon here. I feel like we're going to surgery. I feel like we're really going into, the green room, the surgery. Hashem is it's a 15-step program. Hashem is going to perform surgery on our souls to open up a new level of a soul. Why? Because big blessings are coming down, and I need to expand. Spirituality, even though the world seems like it's going down, thank God, Hasidus tells us that every day, spiritually, the world is going up. Maybe we can't even see it. But Hasidus explains to us, because holiness, Hashem, his nature is always more, always better. So even though the world seems like it's going down to the dumps, thank God, Hasidus tells us it's the other way around. So then we have to get ready, because I'm going to go to the next level. I often talk about my trainer. I don't know where this man trains me in weights and things. Every class, I finish one class and I say, oh, I did so good. Thank you, Hashem. I did great. Oh my gosh, I finished my class. That's great. Next week, it's like, doesn't matter what you did with me on last week. Let's go to the next level. No, the next level. I say, oh my gosh, couldn't last week just be good enough? Like, couldn't I stay there? Couldn't I just stay there? No, there's always another level and another level. Why? Because we have a chunk of Hashem in us, and Hashem is infinite. And infinity, this infinite, he's more than infinite, is always more. So that's why we have Pesach. Pesach is going to the next level. We were slaves in Egypt, and now we're gonna be free people. So from slavery to freedom, right? And we become slaves to anything that we get comfortable with. We become a slave. We lose. The slave loses its freedom to choose. Even posture. I'm constantly working on my posture. One day, when I grow up, you talk about posture, but it's good. One day when I grow up, I'll have good posture. Good posture. You know what? I don't. Okay, but good is good and better is better, right? Isn't that a saying in Yiddish? So we get used to a posture. We get used to a way of thinking. We get used to a way of doing things. We get used to the salad that I make. We get used to the challah, that my recipe. And we think, okay, good enough is good enough. And Hashem doesn't know. There's even better. But you have to, that's why, 80% of the Jews didn't leave Egypt. Why didn't they leave Egypt? Egypt was horrible for them at the end. They didn't, because they couldn't even fathom life could be better. Because we get used to, yes. And the comfort zone is very dangerous. And it says that the Rebbe always sat on a chair on the edge of the chair. So the edge is like I'm ready to leave. I'm not getting like comfortable like here. you know, one of the words that I hate in the vocabulary is chill. You know what chill is? Chill is just that's it. Huh? That's yeah. But it's like kill time, waste time, just chill. Just don't think. Chill. You know, there's a study. I read about a study that says that when a person watches TV, there's less brain waves action than when a person sleeps. Isn't that horrible? Mm. I cannot watch a person watching TV. I cannot. Me, I can't. I get it's like it's eerie to me. I don't. I can't do it. Anyways, all right. So this is going on. Okay. All right. So. All right. So we have said about divinity. What? Right. Literally, it means to get cold. As a slang, as the way that it's being used today, it's just chill. It's like it just hang out. Just very relaxed and easy going. Very relaxed. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, so what I want to do in this class, I want to read a little bit of the parsha of Egypt to see how this relates to us, okay? So there's parsha books in the back. All right, so Parsha Shemot. In Parsha Shemot, it's the second book of the Parsha. Okay, so just a recap. How did we get into Egypt? Because Egypt in Hebrew it's the word Mitzrayim, and it comes from the word restriction. Okay, page 293. So Egypt means restriction, and we have already elucidated how divinity in Yud-Kei-Vav-Kei is a source of energy that is always ascending, always progressing, and more. Okay, that is our divine soul. Okay, so what keeps us from asserting and giving the voice to our divine soul? Go ahead. Okay, so it's a challenge of the animal soul. So Mitzrayim, Egypt, means constriction. Okay? So spiritually, it's whatever constricts us from being able to really be assertive with our divine soul. Okay, so how did we get into Egypt? Very briefly, Joseph was the viceroy. Remember, Joseph was taken, and the Purim we classes, we mentioned that the Arizal said that Mordechai was the reincarnation of Joseph, because both saved the whole Jewish people, both in one day changed from just a common person to the viceroy of the land. Okay. So Joseph was taken the same day from being a slave in prison, and the Pharaoh made him viceroy of Egypt. So there was the gossip mongers of the times would say, how could Pharaoh do that? How could he take a slave, a Jew, and make him a viceroy over us? No, that's unbelievable. And Pharaoh would always answer, I am sure that he's not just a slave. I'm sure that he has greatness in him. So many years passed. And then when Yaakov Avinu and the Jewish people came to Egypt, to immigrate to Egypt as Joseph's family, Yaakov Avinu was known worldwide as Prince of Hashem. Okay, we know the story when Abraham Avinu, when he emerged from the oven of King Nimrod, because he wouldn't bow down to King Nimrod, and Abraham Avinu lived in a world of idolatry. When he emerged from the oven, the whole world declared him, you are God. And Abraham said, I am not God. God is the one that saved me, right? Miracles. God is the one that saved me. So then the people declared him, then you are Prince of God. So ever since Abraham, Yitzhak, and Yaakov, the Jewish people are called Prince of God. Maybe that's where the word Jab came from, Jewish American princess, but it has a point. Okay. Anyways, so when Yaakov immigrated as Prince of God to Egypt, Pharaoh was elated. Pharaoh was very happy. You see, I was right. Joseph is not a commoner. Joseph descends from Malchut, from royalty. So they gave us the best of the land, right? They gave us Goshen. Now, Pharaoh wasn't magnanimous in giving us Goshen. Goshen was already ours, right? Goshen was a gift. When Abraham Avinu went to Egypt, many generations before, and Sarah, our matriarch, was kidnapped by the Pharaoh then, and then he saw all the miracles that Hashem performed for her in palace. So Pharaoh couldn't get near her, right? When he called immediately for Abraham and said, take your wife. She's very holy. I don't want any part of it. I didn't touch her. And I'll give you a lot of money, a lot of gifts. And I'm going to give you Goshen as a gift. So Goshen already belonged to the Jewish people. Okay? Now, we lived in Goshen, which was a way for the Jews to be isolated from the Egyptians. The Egyptian culture was extremely, extremely decadent. Not only idolatry, adultery, it says that in the plague of the firstborn, when the firstborn son died, in every Egyptian house, there wasn't one dead. There were many, because the people, the couples, had committed so much adultery that they had many firstborns from their different unions. Okay? There was black magic even done by children of school. So it was a very decadent society. So the Jews stayed in Goshen. Okay? All right. So here we go. Okay. So page 293. Okay, we're gonna skip a little bit. Number 7. The children of Israel were fruitful, teamed, increased, and became strong. So we proliferated. We were living in Goshen in Egypt, and we became, amazingly rich. We became very fructiferous. We multiplied, and the children and the Jewish people prospered. Very, very much so. And the land became filled with them. Okay, look at number 8 and see if you can find any parallels with what's happening today in the world. A new king arose over Egypt, a new Pharaoh who did not know of Joseph. So who had been Joseph for Egypt? Joseph had saved Egypt from death, from famine. Not only had saved Egypt, had saved the whole world, because in the whole world there was famine, and had amassed the great wealth of the whole world for Egypt. So it had saved it, and it had made it very, very, very wealthy. But a new king arose who did not know of Joseph. So Joseph and all the tribes had already died by this time. Okay, we were in Egypt a total of 210 years since we immigrated there. Okay, all right. So Rashi tells us that it was actually not a new Pharaoh. It was just the same Pharaoh who had made Joseph viceroy, but now had a change of perspective on the Jews. So he said, I don't know Joseph. What did Joseph do for me? I don't care. Okay? All right. So 9, he said to his people, behold, the people, the children of Israel, are more numerous and stronger than we. Come, let us outsmart it, lest it become numerous, and it may be that if a war will occur, it too may join our enemies and wage war against us and go up from the land. So it's the same Pharaoh, new perspective, and he becomes jealous of the Jews, right? They're so powerful, they're so numerous, right? And so he starts a campaign of anti-Semitism. Sounds familiar? Now, is this campaign based on truth? Is there any truth to what he's saying? Because what he's saying is, oh, we have to fear the Jews, because if we have a war and the enemy comes to battle with us, the Jews are going to join the enemy side and they're going to take us out of our land. That's what he's saying. That's the whole campaign. Okay? Is there any truth to it? No, because the Jews had only shown loyalty to Egypt, had only shown that they will contribute to the society, had never ever shown anything but loyalty. So can we see the pattern that the Torah is telling us? Anti-Semitism is not based on any truth. That's why it's almost futile to battle anti-Semitism with logic, because it has no logic. Are we together? Okay. All right. So, but what does he plant there in this anti-Semitism, which is like fake news today? He plants fear in the people. He plants discord in the people. So now people are against each other. Isn't that what's happening on the campuses? Isn't that what the protests are, right? Okay, so 11. So they appointed taskmasters over it in order to afflict it. So something happens between line 10 and line 11 that they didn't tell us. So this big campaign of anti-Semitism is now in all the news, in all the media, people are hearing about it, right? And now this propaganda goes into another level. You know what? We're going to set up cities of storage houses for Egypt. And me, Pharaoh, I am going to go as a worker. I am going to go as a worker. So when Pharaoh went as a worker, all the nobles of Egypt came and worked. And what happened to the Jews in Goshen? They said, and you tell me if it doesn't sound like the Purim story. They said, we want to join them also. We want to join Pharaoh. We want to be good patriots. We're going to be first Egyptians and then Jews. Which is true. Look how history repeats itself, right? Who stayed in Goshen? Who did not go? Who did not believe all this propaganda? The Levites. The Levites, that's where later the Kohanim are going to come from. The Levites, they did not want to join. They said, we want to stay in Goshen. Goshen was founded on a yeshiva. Goshen was founded on Torah principles, okay? And they did not want to become part of the Egyptian society. Remember when we talked about Purim? What happened to the Jews when they received the invitation of the Ahasuerus party? They ran to it, and who stayed behind? Mordecai and Esther. Everybody else went to the party. Okay? What's happening on the campuses? Jews, Chas v'Shalom, are making, many of them are part of the protest against Israel. Jews. Because we want to be like everybody else. Oh, they're colonizers, you know, the Anna Epstein syndrome. They're colonizers. Okay, so now I've often told this when I was a little girl. Jimmy Carter ran for president here in this country, and I'm sure you can Google his TV propaganda. Jimmy Carter was an extremely wealthy person, but he came into power in the States because he posed himself as a blue-collar worker. He was in the television on top of a tractor, right? With like the clothes of a blue-collar worker. He was like, you know, with his axe on the land, in the fields. And that's why people elected him. He posed himself as a man of the people, which he was not. Jimmy Carter later made the Camp David Accords, which Israel seceded a lot of the Sinai to the Arabs, right? For peace, right? He sold himself as a peace man. I think he won the Nobel Peace Prize. Later on, then he took out his mask and he's a rabid anti-Semite. So it's the same thing happening over and over, okay? So the Jews went and they started to build storage houses, and Pharaoh was there and all the nobles were there. And a few weeks later, Moshe, you know, no, not Moses, but then David said to Ephraim, hey, Pharaoh's no longer here. And all the Egyptians, nobles, they're not, you know, it's only Jews. Let's go home now. You know, enough. And when they started to go home, the Egyptians said, no. Now you are our slaves. So slavery began voluntarily. And this is a key concept. Because everything that's happening here, it's happening inside of us. Okay. What happens to our animal soul? When we listen to it, we make the choice of listening to it. And after a while, we become a slave to it. That's how addictions start. Addictions start, let me just, you know what, I'm gonna go to the casino. I'm gonna outsmart the casino, right? I'm a very good player. I'm very intelligent. I have good luck. I can do it. So you first, voluntarily, you go in. And then what happens? Then the addiction starts to take over a person. Every addiction, okay? So then they put taskmasters in order to afflict it with burdens. Then they said, you know what? We're gonna afflict it. This is how we're gonna finish off the Jewish people. That's why later on, they're gonna have the plague of the frogs, right? What was the plague of the frogs? One frog came out of the river Nile, and the Egyptians, they tried to smash it, right? Just like the Jews. Let's kill the Jews. But the more that they would kill, the more that they would afflict the Jews, what did Hashem make? We would give birth to 6 or 7 babies. So the more they afflicted us, because the Jews are compared to the olive, the more you press it, the best of the olive comes out, the olive oil. And that was the plague of the frogs. The more they hit it, the frog, instead of dying, it would reproduce, huh? Yeah, multiply. Excellent. All right, so 12, but as much as they would afflict it, so it would increase, and so it would spread out, and they became disgusted because of the children of Israel. The Egyptians enslaved the children of Israel with crushing harshness. Look at all these adjectives: crushing harshness. They embittered their lives with hard work, mortar and bricks, and with every labor of the field. Those are the 4 cups. 4 cups that we're gonna drink. The Pesach Seder is filled with symbolism. Everything means something. Just like we were afflicted with 4 types of harsh work, because every time it was harsher and harsher. Because slavery didn't start in one day, it didn't finish in one day either. There was relief first from the harsh work, there was relief from working, we're still in Egypt, then we had to leave Egypt. Everything was in stages, okay? All right, so number 15. The king of Egypt, Pharaoh, said to the Hebrew midwife. So Pharaoh, now, how do I get rid of the Jewish people, right? We need to find a final solution, right? We have to get rid of these people. So he took the Hebrew midwives. Who were the Hebrew midwives? Yocheved and Miriam. So who were Yocheved and Miriam? Very interesting. And here we're gonna see something else because there's a premise, there's many premises in the Torah. One premise is that first Hashem sends the cure and then he sends the problem. So when we were coming into Egypt, who was born as we were immigrating into Egypt in the gates? Yocheved. So even before slavery started, already the mother of the person that was going to be the redemptor was already there. Okay? So Yocheved and Miriam is her daughter. Yocheved and Miriam are from the tribe of Levi, right? So they're called into Pharaoh. And what does he say? The name of the first was Shifra, that's another name for Yocheved, and the second was Pua, that's Miriam. And he said, when you deliver the Hebrew women and you see them on the birth stool, if it's a son, you're to kill him. And if it's a daughter, she shall live. Why does Pharaoh say that to them? Because he figures, Chas v'shalom, there's a few children that are die during the birth process. So if I tell the what do you call it? The midwives, if they see a boy, to kill it right then, the mother is not going to think anything of it. It's going to think it was just natural. Isn't that what's happening also in the universities? Isn't that? I'm thinking of it. No, they lately they diminish the amount of Jewish students that they're accepting. So it looks like very natural, very natural. Let's just implement some laws that are very natural and people don't even realize what's happening. The quota. And this was a quota. But we're only going to let live the women. But the men we're going to kill. So, but the midwives feared God. And they did not do as the king of Egypt spoke to them, and they caused the boys to live. This is Hashem's chokhmah, Hashem's intellect. Every word of the Torah is replete with meaning. What does it mean? And they caused the boys to live. As we have mentioned, it's a percentage of children that in the birthing process die. So not only did they not kill the boys, but they even prayed to Hashem, please, Hashem, may all the boys live. Why? Chas v'shalom, anybody, if a child will die, somebody might think, that we killed them. So they prayed. They even prayed on their behalf. So it says they caused the boys to live. Okay? The king of Egypt, Pharaoh is seeing little baby boys, running around town. He summoned the midwives and said to them, and this is like such a big miracle here. Why have you not done this thing? You have caused the boys to live, right? To disobey Pharaoh, you can just imagine, torture, death, which is so incredible because they're going to tell him a lie. What do they say? They say, because the Hebrew women, number 19, are unlike the Egyptian women, for they are experts. Before the midwives comes to them, they have given birth. Rashi says that they said to him, the Jewish women are like animals. An animal doesn't need anybody to help them give birth. So when we get to a Jewish woman that's giving birth, she already gave birth. We couldn't kill the baby. It was an outright lie. Just like Queen Esther going to Hashverosh. She says, if I die, I die. And she makes a plan. Come to the banquet tomorrow. I'll tell you what I want. Come to the next banquet. King could have killed her. But Hashem moves everything from here. So even that lie, he believed. God benefited the midwives, and the people increased and became very strong. And it was because the midwives feared God that he made them houses. What does houses mean? It means that he made them lineages. From Yocheved comes the Levites. Moses is going to be born. And from Miriam, her great-grandson is Betzalel, the architect of the temple. Pharaoh commanded his entire people, saying, every son that will be born into the river shall you throw him, and every daughter shall you keep alive. So now the final solution. I have to get rid of the boys because the black magic, they had told him, we can see in the stars that the Jewish Redeemer is about to be born. So now he was desperate. Now we have to kill every Jewish boy. You're going to have to throw him into the river Nile. Okay? So look what it says. A man went out from the house of Levi. So what happens? The leader of this generation is Amram. Amram is the husband of Yocheved. Amram is the leader of the generation. He is the father already of Miriam, that's about 6 years old, and of Aaron. They have 2 children so far. But when he hears this decree, the final solution, he goes publicly and he divorces his wife, Yocheved. He says, I do not want to bring more children into this world. What for? They're going to kill them, so I'm divorcing my wife. Because he's the leader of the generation, all the Jews followed suit. Okay? Now, I think it was Malka Tauger. Once she gave this class, she's an amazing, amazing teacher. And she gave this class like this, from what we're going to see here. Little Miriam, 6 years old, comes home. She says, Mom, Mom, your mother doesn't live here anymore. Oh, where's Mom? Don't you see what they're doing? They're throwing the children into the river Nile. I divorced your mother. Dad, you're more cruel than Pharaoh. Pharaoh's not allowing the little boys to live. You're not even allowing little girls to live. You're more cruel than Pharaoh. And I know by prophecy that from you and Mom is going to be born the Redeemer. That's little Miriam. And her father listens to her. Her father listens to her. And this is where we are. 9:1, page 297. A man went out from the house of Levi, and he took a daughter of Levi. The woman conceived. So Amram publicly remarried his wife. Because he remarried his wife, all the Jewish people remarried their wives. And the woman conceived and gave birth to a son. She saw that he was good. Good because when he was born, there was light that filled the whole house. His original name that his mother put was Tov. He wasn't called Moshe, he was Tov, he was good. And she hid him for 3 months. Why did he hide him for 3 months? Because when publicly they married, the Egyptian officials started to count 9 months. And when we're going to go search for a baby in 9 months. So Moses was born after how many months? 6 months. Look, what did we say from Pesach to Rosh Hashanah? 6 months. What is happening in Pesach is going to be conceived on Rosh Hashanah. It's gonna give birth on Rosh Hashanah. So she hid him for 3 months, and then she could not hide him any longer. Why? Because they would come search for a baby. How do they search for a baby? They would bring another baby and they would make him cry. And then the baby would cry. And they told me that Hamas is doing that. That's how they have killed some of our soldiers, because they're looking for hostages. So they put a recording of a crying baby. So she took for him a wicker basket, smeared it with clay and pitch. She placed a child into it and placed it among the reeds at the bank of the river. What did Amram do to his daughter Miriam as he's putting the basket in the river? He slapped her. That's why I didn't want to bring more children into the world. And what did Miriam do? What it says. Number 4, his sister stationed herself as a distance to know what would be done with him. Look what I brought. A tambourine. In Hebrew, one of the words for tambourine is, I think it's called Tov Miriam, because this is a symbol of the faith of the Jewish woman. Miriam had full faith that Hashem is going to redeem us, and this is the Redeemer. And she didn't lose faith, even though her father slapped her, even though everything was like black against the odds. She never lost faith. And so she went to see what would happen to him. Now she hides in the river. I'm just going to finish because now we have to finish. And who comes out? Batya, the daughter of Pharaoh. She goes to bathe in the river. Some say because she wanted to bathe from idolatry. She wanted to repudiate idolatry. She wanted to go to the river like a mikveh. And she hears this little child crying and she extends her hand. And when she sees the child crying, she says, this is one of the Hebrew boys. Anyway, she wants to get a wet nurse from the Egyptians. The child that's going to talk to Hashem one day refuses to take that milk. And Miriam is like so brilliant. She comes out of the reeds and she says, should I get a Hebrew wet nurse? And she says, go. And she gets her mother. And Batya says to Yocheved, nurse this child and I will pay for the nursing. So there's a story. I've told it in class with Rabbi Futterfast. Yossi Jacobson tells a story. He was in a prison in Siberia many years, and the Russian prisoners were prohibited from playing cards. Yet they had a stash of cards and they would play. And every time the guard would come in, they were able to hide it and he couldn't find it. And then he would leave and say, I know you're playing cards. And then as soon as he left, they would take out the cards again. So this Rabbi Futterfast, he said to them, I don't understand. Where are the cards? Where do you hide them? Because there's no closets, there's no tape, there's nothing here in the cell. Where can you? And they said to him, we're going to tell you our secret, but if you tell anybody, we're going to kill you. So he says, here, there's the most famous pickpocketer of all Russia is in our cell. So when the guard comes in, he hides the cards in the guard's pocket. And before the guard leaves, he takes the cards out. And this is a story that we just read. Pharaoh wants to kill the Jews. Who saves the Jews? Who saves Moshe? His very daughter. Where does Moshe grow up? In his very lap. On Pharaoh's lap. He was his favorite. In his palace. How could it be? Yud Kei Vav Kei. Only Hashem can do it, because Hashem has a sense of humor. Hashem is nobody wins in his finesse, but he has a sense of humor. Thank you, ladies. Okay, so to be continued. This is gonna be our Pesach series. Yes, go ahead.
Why did Miriam have his visions? Like, was this very common?
She is a prophetess. She's considered a prophetess. She's considered.
It was so
Beso, Vivian.
that could see visions and things at that time.
Still. And you know what, really, every Jew can see it. That's that we have a lot of static. God is speaking to us all the time. But there's so much static around us that we fail to see it. Right? Yeah. It's
All
true.
right, thank you.
All right.
Muy buena
Ok.
clase.
Gracias, Dalia. Bienvenida.
sí.
¿Cómo estás?
Bien.
¿Cómo estás,
Está
Salma?
mucho mejor.